Hello, 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 everybody. I am Lala. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money. And today we are diving into an important and timely discussion. Black women have been rallying around Kamala Harris. But where has this energy been all along? Kamala's campaign launched and received a boost when 44,000 Black women raised 1.5 million for Kamala Harris in just 3 hours, organized with Win with Black Women. Black women are recognized as the most crucial voting bloc for the Democratic Party, but their role for Harris is record-breaking in this fundraising. More than 80 million in her first 24 hours. I'm going to repeat that. 80 million in her first 24 hours shows that their political power goes far beyond the party's loyalty. But why can't we channel this energy into supporting our own communities, like Black businesses and education? Joining me today are my beautiful co-queens, Athena Gardner, CPA and wealth coach, Constance Carter, our wealth activist, Dr. Alicia Watkins, psychotherapist and professor of social work, and Dr. Lene, monetization strategist. So let's jump in. First of all, guys, we don't talk at you at Fly Nubian Money. We just don't do that. We talk with you. So we would love to actually hear your comments. Go ahead and put those in. We will respond to those. We'd like to know what you feel about what's going on in this political world and the power that we have as Black people. So first, I'm going to start off with a couple of graphics because 80 million is a lot. And I want us to just kind of look at what was brought in before we jump into this conversation. So they called it the Zoom Boom. And that began on July 21st with Win with Black Women. It was a 4-hour call and it attracted 44,000 participants. It raised 1.6 million. And off of that, we launched into other communities supporting Harris. July 22nd. Black Men for Harris. That was a 6-hour call and it attracted 54,000 participants and they raised 1.3 million. Now, off of that, we piggybacked and got some more. The white women came on and they said, answer the call on July 25th. 160,000 participants. And by the way, guys, Zoom had to go in and open up more seats because all these kept getting locked out. So this was the largest call in the history of Zoom. And it crashed Zoom several times, but they raised 11 million. And then it jumps off to even more. The white dudes for Harris, 160,000 participants. A lot of actors also were included in this call. That was the largest call in history as well. And it crashed Zoom and it raised 4 million. Now, ladies, this is not the only ones that we had. We had Latinos, we had the LGBTQ, and we have many other ones that are lining up to get into formation. So I would absolutely love to hear your initial thoughts on this, on how powerful we are and what you thought of how we rallied so quick. So Constance, I would love to hear your thoughts first, please.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was quite surprised. Pleasantly surprised. When we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, just the elections, I wasn't at all excited about the elections. It's the status quo, two senile old men going, Crips and Bloods that are fighting, gangbanging for our votes. And I was not excited about it at all. And so when Biden announced that Kamala was going to be running, I was like, oh, okay, this is a turn of events. And I wasn't quite sure what the reception was going to be. Then I got about 10 text messages from my sisters from all over the country. And I was like, okay. And then when I hopped on, they were like, sorry, you can't get on. I got on again and it was over 40-something thousand people. And I was like, yo. So I thought, okay, this is something. And then as the momentum started growing, and then you see the Republicans scrambling, and then all the names, is she qualified, is she DEI, which further let us know how scared they are, right? So it's just been a whirlwind, and it's been exciting to watch. So now, like, I'm galvanized, I'm ready to go out there and vote, which I was not at all excited about it before, but I think this is great.
I have to be very honest. When I heard that Biden dropped out, I was very upset and I was really butthurt because I did not like the way that it went down. I kind of felt like he was kind of forced out. And then when he endorsed Kamala, I was like, oh, we're not going to win this thing. I mean, that was my first thought because I know how America is so sick with racism. But as the day went on, as the hours went on, I was just super excited about how everybody just jumped in and did what they needed to do. And it gave me a breath of fresh air. So, Dr. Lene, what was your thoughts when you first heard?
Literally exactly what you said. Literally, I was like, I don't know if they're going to let this happen. Will they let a black woman step up into that office? They didn't let the white one. We just had the black man. Like, I went through all of those things too. Like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. And the funny thing is, I already knew I was going to vote for Kermit the Frog. So it didn't matter who they put up against Trump. It could have been a leaf plant, and that leaf plant would have got my vote. So I am excited now, kind of like what Constance said, like that it is Kamala. I am still looking for a policy. But again, Kermit the Frog could have got my vote. I am way happier that it is Kamala. I am way happier that now we have a more energized voting, not process, but just the two candidates that we have in front of us. Now we have something to work with. So I am excited about it, but I did feel like how you felt as well, Lala, when it first happened. I was like, ugh, can we win this? What's going to happen? I'm looking at the polls every day to see what the numbers are. Has she passed him yet? So it's definitely energizing to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I actually shed some tears before I got it together and said, we're going to fix this. Had to get up and dust off my knees and start all over again. I feel like that donkey in the biblical story. You know, you throw dirt on me, he just shakes it off and until he's standing on the top. That was just like, I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. I was beside myself. So I want to hear what you have to say, lovely Athena. What was your initial thoughts?
Well, when Biden announced that he was walking away, I was like, I knew it because I said it on the show before that this whole COVID diagnosis is just a setup for him to exit stage left and make it look as graceful as possible. When Kamala was announced or when he endorsed her, I had a moment where I felt like, okay, is she gonna win, right? Is she gonna get the votes? And to be honest with you, even though we have galvanized, as Black women always do, to lead the charge to help embolden her campaign as far as fundraising is concerned, I still have questions on whether or not she will make it, just based off of conversations I've had with different people and even on this platform, even in the comment section, right? She is still kind of a polarizing figure, not as much as Trump, but she's still a polarizing figure because she has not defined a clear policy in general, much less a Black agenda. And some of the rollouts, I would say, as far as her campaign is going on, I'm not happy with. However, I have to pick, the choice of lesser two evils. And the policy that has been clearly defined by the other party concerns me greatly as a woman. So we'll see. But I'm happy that she's given an opportunity to represent women, to represent Indians, to represent Black, to represent the melting pot that this country is.
Lala, can I just say something real quick? Exquisite. I want to highlight what she said. She said it's just so ignorant to vote for someone because of race and sex and nothing else, literally nothing else. Do you know people are voting for Donald Trump for that very reason? Do y'all know that people are voting for Donald Trump for that very reason? I want you Black people and all of you guys that say that we're only voting for Kamala because she's a Black woman. That's not the reason why. We're voting for her because Donald Trump is drastically underqualified, but people are voting for him because she is Black and she's a woman. So y'all get that out of y'all minds and stop being so damn brainwashed. But go ahead.
I call that bonus points. Right. I told you I would have voted for anybody against Trump. So that's bonus points. So don't think I ain't getting information now. Okay. Woo. We're going to be having some hot conversations up in here today. Dr. Alicia, you always give us such a beautiful insight. What were your thoughts?
This is really fascinating. I think we were all kind of on the edge of our seat, because we imagined that, and we could see the handwriting on the wall, that Biden did not have the stamina to continue this very gruesome election cycle. And we're all just kind of like, is it even possible? Could this even be? We could have a African-American female who it will be president. Also, she's multi-race, but presents herself as an African-American female. So I think that it sent a very unique statement to the public for all of these groups to come out and say, we support you. We're not only supporting you in our vote, but we're supporting you with the money that we're giving to you. So Black women, Black men, white women, Latinos, LGBTQ group, and even white men, that also made a big statement, because that's saying, okay, I am an ally to you. So the people of color, people who've been on the margins, marginalized groups. And if you think about what Donald Trump is campaigning, he has had a much longer time to talk about what he's in favor of, right? So all of these marginalized groups are being pushed out, and reproductive health, all of these things are being pushed out. And I think this is sort of the like saying, you know what? We have our candidate. We have our candidate that we believe will speak for us, that will help and support policies that we believe in. Now, you make a really good point. Kamala Harris hasn't really come out and had a definitive statement. I'm hoping to hear something really wonderful at the convention, but she's coming out and they're giving support, galvanizing support. And this is a new campaign. I think it started out really strong. This is a very loud statement to meet with all of these different groups. And I am very interested to see what this convention is going to bring.
And I think that's where a lot of her policies will come out. I will say that I know we have people who are interested in knowing what those policies are. We had a bit of a change of our plans today on what we were going to discuss. And I think this is a very important thing for us to discuss. So y'all just have to stay tuned, because we do have facts for you about some of her policies. So you can stop barking about that. Because what we're going to talk about today is that's all wonderful and that's all great. And I'm proud that we did it. But what I want to talk to us about, because this is very important, if we can be that powerful with our money, why can't we be that powerful within our own communities? Outside of what we do, we're always supporting other people with shoes and clothes. But what about educating our own people on finances, on land ownership, on stock trade, on Black education? This type of money would make such a huge difference in our communities. So Constance, I'm going to hit you up first on that one, because I know that you're pretty passionate about that. What do we need to do to make or see our communities polarize themselves in this direction, and not just for famous people or politicians?
Yeah, I've been touting collective economics for a very, very long time. And if you look at other communities, because there's so much infighting with us. If you look at the comments, you see a lot of Black men against Kamala, and it's actually pretty disheartening. You would rather vote for a white man who will give police immunity for a police officer that kills your kid over a Black woman, and then we have all of this talk about her, whether she's Black or not, which is really, really, really irrelevant. The fact is, Donald Trump is not qualified to be the president of the United States, nor was he 4 years ago, or however long, many years ago. Like somebody said, how is he not qualified if he was president before? He wasn't qualified then, he ain't qualified now, period. And that's the reason why our country is in shambles. Somebody else was actually pulling his strings. But anyway, I digress. When we talk about other communities being insulated from what's going on with the economy, it's because that they practice collective economics. It's because they support one another. And I think that, because they didn't fuck around and gave us the internet, we have access to a lot more things than we did. We can no longer be held back. Only thing that can really hold us back are the things in our mind, but we have so much more knowledge and so much more information. And we just got to keep us, other people, other, financial literacy experts, Dr. Boyce Watkins and the B1 Nation, B1 community, and all of us that are doing the work on the ground, just continue to tout to the people that we know, the people that we have influence over, is that if we want to go fast, go alone. But if we want to go far, we have to go together. We have to support one another. We got to practice working together, spending together, supporting each other, pushing each other out there. But this divisive talk right now, just like we have with Kamala Harris being the almost nominee, somebody pointed out she's not the nominee yet. You see in the division that we have there, we do have work to do, because we can't even be on the same page with voting for someone who looks like us for president, not because she's Black, but because she's better. How can we do it within our community? So we got to be intentional, and we got to keep fighting the good fight, because a lot of us have Stockholm syndrome with with white people who don't give a fuck about us. We care more about them than we care about ourselves, and it's unfortunate, this slavery mentality that we have. But I just say we just keep talking that talk, and it'll get to somebody. It'll change one person. Jesus said, I left the 99 and went after the one. Go after that one person. And it might make
I always feel like when we get that one person, we end up getting way more than that, because when that one person gets it, then they trickle down into their family and they go and make someone else get it. So that one is, in fact, many. And I am on board with that. Athena, you deal with money. You're our CPA. I would love to hear where would you start? This is a good question. I'm going to get in my seat and settle down a little bit. Where would you start with our communities to get us on the right track so that we can galvanize together?
Do you want that from a policy perspective with government, or people grassroots?
No, I'm taking government out, because government ain't going to save us. It is us who's going to save us. And when we get out of that mentality that the government is going to save us, then maybe we will stop infighting over stupid things about you ain't Black enough and you ain't this and you ain't that, and get on the real page. So I'm talking from a perspective as a Black woman in your community.
As a Black woman in my community, the first thing I would look at is how I can save myself first and my family first. Start with you and your family unit, and then expand. I would look at what can I do to change my financial situation, because financial power is important as far as your quality of life and also what you'll be able to contribute to your community. It's hard to contribute to your community when you're poor. So the first job is to not be that. I would look at what skills or talents that I have right now, or what is in demand that could, bring economics to me. So right now, if you're in tech, if you any kind of service-based work or industry, starting your own business, leveraging AI to superpower and build a good tech stack and infrastructure to your business would be great. Also looking at what needs or skills that I have that can fulfill others. If I can bake cakes and cupcakes, I can start my own cupcake business or whatever. Just find a way to pull resources of money towards me. From there, I would look at definitely, we also have a local election with this national one. Be involved in what these candidates are offering, what policies are happening around my area, and what would make sense to vote for, puts my family forward. Those are the things I would do right now. And I definitely think not only just this year, but in the years coming ahead, it's going to be very, very important to hone in on having actionable skills. So if you are going to school or plan on doing a traditional educational path, do not get a degree that is not going to pay you, right? Just don't even do that. And I would focus more so on entrepreneurship is going to have to be the way for us, especially economically, with these DEI initiatives being tossed to the wind. With AI looming on the back of her neck, I think when we even look at the Republican Party, what they're doing is just restructuring power. They're predicting and seeing the change of the landscape, and they're redrawing the lines, redlining to make sure that their power structure is in place. What is going to happen is that Black people are going to be left out, even if they're whatever jobs AI don't replace. Without any DEI incentives for these corporations to hire you or even wanting to hire you, we're going to find ourselves unemployed and economic starvation, probably like a huge economic apocalypse for us. So I do think that right now, whatever the skills of the future, I would say prompt engineering, tech skills, AI skills, build your business. And that's what will save us.
I want to jump in here real quick. I'm tired today, but I see some stuff that's going on in the chat that is irking me. So I'm going to start with leather and luxury. I really hate us sometimes. I cry in my room often because we just seem to run off emotion instead of intellect, and it saddens me. And then that was followed by Exquisite, who says, you can't call us barking because we're concerned about our country. Well, be concerned about your community. Like we are literally doing, and this is what saddens me about Black community. We are literally doing in politics what we do in business, and that is holding someone that looks like us to a higher standard than everybody else. We don't ask nobody else any of these questions that we're asking Kamala. We don't ask nobody else, white man, white woman, anything else, or hold them to any kind of a standard like we do for somebody that looks like us. People were just going to go and vote for Biden blindly. People are voting for Trump and they don't even know what his policies are. But we have somebody that looks like us and we want to be like, are you for us? Are you Black? Are you this? Are you that? You don't ask nobody else those questions. You don't ask Trump what he's going to do for Black people. You don't ask no other white president what they're going to do for Black people. And they don't even do anything for Black people. It's not even a part of the agenda. But when it's somebody that could potentially take claim to something and looks like us, we want to tear them down. We do it with Black businesses. We do it with other people in our family that's Black, that's trying to do something positive. We go in and we start ripping them apart and start tearing them down. And then we want to say, well, I'm looking out for my country. Look out for your community. Look out for your brothers and your sisters. Look out for your family. Understand the policies that are going to be put in place if Trump becomes the president. Why do we do this as a community? Which the conversation is, can we raise 1.5 million for ourselves? And the answer is we can't, because we can't even unite. We can't even come together. We can't even agree on anything. We have a problem when it comes to seeing one of our own elevate. That's the truth. That's the real truth. When it comes to seeing somebody else do something positive, whether it's political, in business, in a career, education, a sport, we tear them down. Simone Biles, we out here talking about the chick because her edges is not together. She out here getting gold medals and we gonna rip her apart because her edges aren't done. We have a serious problem in our community when it comes to elevation and support. Can we ever raise 1.5 million for our community? Nope, because we won't stand with each other and unite to see somebody get elevated. That's the real problem. That's literally what we're talking about. And that's what you should be crying about. You should cry about that fact. We should be talking about how do we fix that? Because that's sad.
I agree wholeheartedly. I call it the crabs in the bucket mentality. When you get a bucket of crabs and they're trying to get out, they clamor over each other and pull the one down who's on top because they're too busy trying to get to the top themselves. Until we get over that mentality, I don't see us improving. And this is why it's so very important for us to start within our own homes and then our own communities to make that change. If you're just now joining us, you are watching Fly Nubian Money. We are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We discuss very important things in our community. Sometimes we have little fun topics, but today we're talking serious things. If we could raise money for political people and pay other people for fashion and Gucci bags, how is it that we cannot turn around and do something positive in our own neighborhoods? And where do we start with that? If you love our content and you want to make sure that you don't miss any of it, you want to make sure that you text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948. And if you just can't catch us, you always can catch us on Spotify. So go to Spotify and download us there, Fly Nubian Money, and then go ahead and give us 5-star rating so that we can be found a little bit easier. That would be greatly appreciated. Now, we are talking about money, so we give you solutions to help you get your money right. So you need to head on over to our website, flynubianmoney.com. We have free financial resources, courses, and more. I said it starts with us. So you need to get your financial house in order so that you can help others get financial and support the things that are important to you. Now, Dr. Alicia, the comment about how, she hates us sometimes. She cries in the room, often because we seem to run off emotion instead of intellect, and it saddens her. What are your thoughts on that? What is the emotion part of this, and how can we deal with that to lessen that?
Yeah, I'm not certain that running off of emotion is something particularly ascribed to Black individuals. I don't know what necessarily where that comment came from, perhaps. But I mean, I think all of our decisions, most of our decisions are made off of emotions. And it's not a bad thing. There's something too, if you ever had a hard decision that you needed to make and you tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to sleep on it for a little bit. That is a great thing, because that's where emotion and intellect kind of come together and you have what's called wisdom. So you don't want to ignore emotion, because sometimes your feelings, things in your gut feelings that's kind of squishy, hard to definitely pinpoint. Sometimes those things can give you information. Your body and emotions can give you information that you're not cognitively, objectively seeing. So I think first of all of us run on emotions. And secondly, we have to use it to our advantage. We have to recognize that it's a very important piece there. And yeah, so it's a very important piece. I wanted to make a comment about, I love this crabs in the bucket that Lene was talking about. And it really signals to us how hard we are on each other. And it is I just want to bring up that it's when you're in very oppressive community atmospheres, that oppression and those negative thoughts that you see all the time, negative images that you see about yourself, sometimes gets internalized. And so you just have this internalized oppression that happens that I think we need to consciously kind of take a look at and examine. I see it all the time with couples, because a lot of times in my office, I'll see like a woman and she'll be ascribing to her husband stereotypes of Black men. That's not what's going on here. Like, stop stereotype. Stop with this stereotype about how Black men operate. It's a stereotype. It's not true. Your husband really loves you. He just made a mistake. It doesn't mean that all Black men can't trust no Black man. No, you're carrying out this stereotype, just like with Black women. I see it all the time in my office, and I have to kind of point out how much of this is really what they're doing versus how much of this are you bringing to the situation, because like everybody else, we are susceptible to the negative images that we see about Black men and Black women. And I know you guys talked about that in a lot of different ways, so I really love that part. But that was the point I want to make. Start to really consciously think about some of your automatic thoughts about somebody and really question where that comes from.
Yeah, sometimes we got to check ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I've learned that as I've gotten older. Now, you would have told me that at 20 and be like, I'm good. But at 54, I see that a little different. I always try to check myself before I open my mouth, because sometimes you may let your emotions run fast and then you're sorry that you had said something. So Dr. Lene, I know you addressed a lot, but I wanted to ask you, where would you start in your community? How would you start? What are the basics that you would start with to improve our communities?
Oh, definitely kind of what Athena said, like at home, right? So at home first, educating our next generation, your own family, your own kids, your own cousins, and their education, but then actually getting out in the community and volunteering, showing up for educational things, showing up for academic things, showing up in the business community. I believe that all of us as Black people, not only are we resilient, but we have talents, we have skills, we have fashion sense. There are things that we have that nobody else has. And we sit on our talents and our skills. Or we wait for somebody to come knocking and ask us, hey, will you do this for me? Or hey, can you show up? When you know you have this talent and the skill, go out and find a place to use it. We all have a voice. We all have ideas. You can see in the chat, everybody has an idea, everybody has a comment, everybody has something to say. Use your voice. Don't be a keyboard gangster just sitting and watching YouTube videos and giving your opinion. Show up. If that's how you feel, if that's how you feel, and that's what you think, show up and be present in a place where you can see progress towards what you think and how you feel. We do a lot of sitting on the sidelines and critiquing, and not a lot of showing up and being proactive. We started 400 years behind. We're way more than that now. Academically, financially, with our votes, in our relationships, with our money, in our business, you name it, we're at the bottom of the list. But we have a lot of opinions and we do a lot of talking, but we don't do a lot of showing up. We don't do a lot of execution. We don't do a lot of taking action, and we don't do a lot of making things different and better. So that's what I would say to do. Take action.
Can't get your goals if you don't put the foot forward. That's the way I say it. Constance, are we waiting for a savior?
First of all, I want to say, Dr. Lene, sis, I know I fell off, but I was still listening. Give me a virtual high five. I love exactly everything you said. No, because she said, I'm tired, and I'm tired. I'm tired physically, but I'm tired of y'all self-hating Negroes and not doing it anyway. You already said what you said, and I just wanted to give you props for that. And it's so funny because I see people. Let me just go here to these comments real quick. Kamala's Black. Y'all, she's Black for real. So this idea that her dad is Irish and he's a Black man from Jamaica. Google is your best friend. So first of all, that. Secondly, when we talk about what we need to do inside of our communities, I do it every single day in educating Black people, specifically Black women. I love Black people so much that I'm always, everything that I've done in my life, I share with other people who look like me. So I've made millions of dollars. I invest in real estate being the number one wealth builder in this country. I share how to, how other people can do that. So everything that I do, I teach other people. But the caveat to me teaching other people is that they teach other people. So it's not just about me teaching them. It's about them going back into their communities. There's an African proverb that says, when you teach a man, you teach an individual, but when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. And that's the reason why I am so passionate about teaching Black women, because I know Black women are going to change things. All of us Black women on this panel are world changers. We are out here educating ourselves and educating other people so that they can do what it is that we've been able to successfully do. That's what we dedicate our lives to. So I believe we could do it. It starts with one person, but that's how the trickle effect happens. You start with one person and then it just starts to spread. And so I'm optimistic about Black people. I know that they said in 2053 our wealth was going to be a zero because we're not galvanizing, we're not coming together. Things like I see in the comments, things that I'm seeing all over social media, how we're so divided, especially around gender. But I think if we can just really think community, like Lene said, community first before we think country, think about us first, because white people ain't coming to save you. Jewish people ain't coming to save you. Asian people ain't coming to save you. We got to save ourselves. But it starts with us starting to work together, because united we stand and divided we fall. And we are failing. And white people have infiltrated us for so long and caused us to. And that's why you see white people on here and everyone, she ain't Black. Donald Trump, she ain't Black. She ain't Black. So the fuck what? If she is or she isn't, but we know she is. But they're sowing these seeds of division, and we eating it all up, you guys. We got.
I mean, with the gravy on the biscuit. So let me stop all these.
Can I just say this? No other time do we debate a president's race. We don't be like, oh, he's Polish and not Irish. No, he's Greek and not. We don't do that. But if it's a little bit of Black or it looks a little bit different, we got to know, where's Obama from? He's Hawaiian.
Right. But why?
We don't do that for nobody
else.
Nobody else.
Y'all disqualifying her because she ain't Black. And it's just, and then they keep talking about what are her policies. She just got nominated, y'all. It's been a week. Can we give it some time? We gonna get there. We just had the convention. Like, give it a minute.
Dr. Google, just like you always say, Constance, there's plenty out there on what her agenda is. Go look for it. But this is what I want to do now. I'm going to switch to a couple of these comments. And some of them I'm just not even going to read. Because what I see is baiting. What I see is more infighting. This is not what we are about here at Fly Nubian Money. What we are about is uplifting our community. So if you don't have a solution, I don't want to hear the argument. So I want you to start putting in your solutions. Where would you start outside of politics? Stop talking politics. Stop trying to divide. I want to know, just like I asked my beautiful queens here, where would you start in your community to make the change? Because all this back and forth garbage is getting us nowhere. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to move forward. And that means me teaching someone else how to be better and how to raise up our community. And I don't want to hear any more crab in the bucket comments. I'm just not going there. So I want to hear your solution, since you want to keep barking at us about what her solution. She ain't black. She's Indian. She's this. Give me your solution and tell me why you're not asking Trump and these other politicians who fall in line with him, like Mitch McConnell and all those other people, the same questions that you keep telling us that you're trying to ask from her, because I don't see you doing that. Simple as that. If you're just joining us, you are joining Fly Nubian Money. We are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. If you like our content and you love our content and you love to like to just come and argue sometime, that's all right. Come on. We're here for you. We'll answer you back, but we want to hear your solutions too. You can text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948. And that way you'll be notified of when we go live. Also, you can listen to us on Spotify. So all you have to do is look up Fly Nubian Money there, and you can take us anywhere you want to. Have coffee, have tea, have a glass of wine. You know, we all out here friends. We're just doing the thing, right? And if you feel like you are so passionate and we're not addressing what you want us to, come on and be a part of the show. If you're interested in coming on and giving some of your comments besides the keyboard, behind the keyboard, all you have to do is email us at info@realvirtual.net. See, you got me tongue tied all up in here. It's info@REELVIRTUAL.net. So we would love to hear what you have to say. So I don't see nobody answering me in the comments. Where you going to start? Dr. Alicia, where would you start?
Listen, I want to give a round of applause to all of the Black people who actually do give to the community. I was looking at the title of today's podcast, or what is it, YouTube video, and it says, okay, raising $1.5 million in 3 hours for Kamala Harris. Can we do it for the Black community? And I mean, just that question alone, it seems like it's saying, because you give money to a political candidate, that it somehow takes money away from the Black community. And I am thinking of many instances where Black people have, and we know the economic conditions of Black people, right? And compared to other groups, we have really dug in our pockets and given money to a lot of charitable organizations. There is tons of, and I don't have the history off the top of my head, but I'm thinking of several where we have pulled our money together to create banks, where we have given money to a Black Wall Street initiative and all of these things, and sometimes with success and a lot of times without the success that we were hoping for. But I really do want to, I think that in that question, it's assuming that we just haven't been trying, you know, and I just think collectively as Black people, we have done so much since slavery to really try to get back on our feet. And I will tell you, we have been taken advantage of in so many different ways. And I think psychologically, yeah, I can understand where Constance is coming from, where Lene is coming from. It can make you like really tired because you see the issues. You can kind of imagine what the solutions could be. Are we going to put all of our woes, all of the issues of the Black community, are we really going to rest all of that on the back of Kamala Harris? You know, is that fair for her? Is that fair to do that to any president? When we were trying to do this with President Barack Obama, he immediately said, hey, y'all, we have to do this together. I cannot do this by myself. I need you guys to stay involved. I need you guys to continue up. Like he said, please, he was begging, please do not get apathetic. Please do not go back to sleep. And for many of us, we went back to sleep, right? So, I mean, I just think there's so much, we start pointing fingers and we start blaming each other. All the people who make comments, the trolls who make comments, I just see really angry, sad people. And maybe they need to be heard. Maybe they don't have a place where their frustrations about Black women or frustrations about all of the things that are probably happening in their life, maybe they don't have a place to go to. And so they're like, you know what? I'm going to go on here and I'm just going to troll Fly Nubian Money. I'm going to do this. And I get it. We love y'all too, you know, but it's very frustrating because you do feel tired. You feel like you're in this box. You feel, I mean, there's so many things, like our mainstream society is so toxic. Let's just call it for what it is. It is extremely toxic. There's very few instances of true humanity and love and care and compassion that you see. And it's just continuing with us in the Black community. And we just really need to focus our attention on things that are working for us. Let's continue to support whomever we feel like we need to support. And I think it's okay, but we need to just not throw money at things and think that that's going to be the solution to Black problems. And it's not going to ever be.
I agree.
Yeah.
You made me think about that scene in School Days at the end where they run around talking about wake up. That I know we laugh about that, but it's such a powerful moment because so many of us are asleep at the wheel. And we think that we are awake, but when you really look at it, we're not. We're a part of the problem and not a part of the solution. And we want to be a part of the solution. I want to address a couple of the comments that we have here since I've asked for some solutions. Non-Swirl Zone said, we need someone with resources and credibility to create a website membership for a Black political bloc with qualified immunity at the top of our agenda. I think that's a good start, but would you be willing to start that? And would you support it, especially if they say that you have to pay for it? Because a lot of the times when people do things like that and you say, give me $5, they don't want to give you $5 for something like that. Also, I love Pretty Richie is always such a wonderful viewer. He comes and supports us every day. He says reparations is key. And a lot of us say that, but do we know what that actually means? And how that we can get that. That's where I think a lot of our education needs to come. He also says reparations will level the financial landscape for African Americans, along with educating us on how money really works. Yes, how money really works. McFact, he says he's given us a solution since he always is hollering about what is Kamala's policies. His solution is one would start by bankrolling a Black candidate and making sure that Black candidate is going to advocate for Blacks and not other groups such as immigrants. Well, sir, we're all at some point of immigrants. If you're not a Native American, then we're all some sort of immigrant. I'm sorry, I love my Black community too, but this land wasn't nobody's before they were Native American before we got here. So I want you to explain that a little bit more. Wall Street LA says, I don't think we should start with 400 years ago. How about 50? No more than 75 years ago, when our Black family began to break down. For one example, we as a race were the healthiest over others. Dr. Alicia.
Wait, what was that? We were healthy over others?
We were healthiest over others 50 to 75 years ago.
We were, is he talking about the Black family was strong?
I would love to hear him for the clarify. Dr. Lene, do you have a feeling?
Yeah, it sounds like he's saying holistically, 50 to 70 years ago, we were in a healthier position over others. Our families were more secure. We had two parent households. I think that's what that person is saying. And I don't disagree, but we still were behind and we still were on the bottom. So as a unit, and as a community, yes, we were healthier, but economically and having rights and powers, we were not. And even when I hear these comments, like, if we're being honest, like for real, a Black candidate for Black people and Black issues is not getting voted in. Be honest. Like, why do we say stuff like that? It's not gonna happen. Never, ever, ever. Like,
we sound like them damn hillbillies that are voting for Trump. Like, y'all don't even understand basic civics. That's not how this works.
I think we all need to go back to Schoolhouse Rock.
how a bill becomes a law.
It's
Yo, that
simple.
ain't how it works.
I mean, really.
Could you imagine going in front of white folks and saying, I'm for black people, vote for me? I'm gonna put the black
It ain't gonna
agenda
happen.
first. You crackers is
Right.
the back of the bus.
Right. No.
Vote for me.
That's the quickest way you will not get elected, people. Come on.
Exactly. They've got to feel like you want something from them in a different way. Leather and Luxury Car says, I think we need to quit politics, period, and start rebuilding locally when connecting together nationwide. I think forcing ourselves into a system that isn't for us is like climbing Mount Everest without gear. And I agree to a certain extent about that. But I also know that we do have to still play the game to be in the game sometimes. So if we don't vote and we don't do that, what we're supposed to do, whether you like it or not, you're still making a statement. So I want to switch a little bit. First of all, if you're just joining us, woo, this is heated and I'm for it today. All right. I ain't had much sleep either, Dr. Lene, so I'm feeling it. All right. You are watching Fly Nubian Money. We are here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can come and join the conversation with us. We don't talk at you, we talk with you, but we're also going to hold you accountable by asking you for some of the solutions that you have for our communities as well. You can watch us Monday through Friday, and all you have to do, if you don't want to miss any of it, is to text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948. Then go on over to Spotify and download us over there and take us on the road with you. And if you'd like to join the panel because you got something to say, all you have to do is to email us at info@realvirtual.net. And that's REELVIRTUAL.net. Now, ladies, I am going to switch it over a little bit because we had something pretty big happen last night or yesterday, and it has got all the world in an uproar. Trump came to speak to the National Association of Black Journalists. And I believe it was a little bit of a shit show. And first, I would like to know, those of us on the panel who actually have watched it, I would love to see your hands. So I'm going to start with you, Constance. I want you to please tell us what your initial thoughts were. Did this serve him or did this hurt him?
I thought it was a complete comedy show. And for those of you who are still voting for him after you've seen this, like, what the, like, you guys are some, and because you don't think that Kamala has Black people's best interests, y'all are some real self-hating Negroes. That's all I got to say about that, because it was nothing. I feel like it should have been a parody on Saturday Night Live. They are and I commend the journalists. They were so professional and on point, and he would not answer a damn question, and he was deflecting. You guys 30 minutes late because your equipment, I don't like you, I like you, I'm not answering this. Well, what about he answered nothing. This is y'all president. This is you guys as president, audience. You should be ashamed of yourself. If anybody looked at this and you still voting for Trump, y'all need to be in a mental asylum.
Well, he came out hot and heavy and angry, but we also want to say that he pointed the finger at them, saying that they were 30 minutes late due to technical difficulties. In fact, they were 30 minutes late because he didn't want to be fact checked. And also he wanted a certain person to come and interview him.
I want you to say that one more time, because I think they really, really, really need to understand that. They were 30 minutes late. Why?
Because he did not want to be fact checked, period. That way he can still roll his rhetoric. And he also wanted to choose who was the ones who were able to give him the questions. He wanted the people who were in his pocket to question him. Instead, he got some pretty powerful and very educated women. So, Athena, do you feel that these ladies came ready and was really expecting him to give honest answers?
I saw a piece of that interview that was conducted, and I do think the women were ready. I think that the questions that were asked were really targeted for him to clarify some of the egregious things he has said in the past, which did not happen. And what usually happens is an attack on that person, which is what the tactic he used. I will agree to a certain extent that the way the interview and things were set up was that he was going to get grilled by those journalists. They weren't coming with roses for him, right? And I guess he was expecting roses or agreeing to come to talk to the blacks or whatever at their black job. But that was not the case. I do feel that it was very enlightening, or that whole interview should be enlightening, especially towards Black people. And because that was kind of like a fact check for Trump on how he has not really done or supported Black people in that way. I wanted to also take the time to address certain things that I've been seeing in the chat this whole show, right? Because I think this is the second time I've talked this whole show. I will say this. I don't think we can vote on race in this election because, and to focus more on policy. I think the whole race thing is like another distraction for us to, get us squabbling, and instead of focusing on the real issues here. Whether she's Black enough or not or whatever. I mean, I knew they were gonna have issues with her because she's a woman, she's not white, and she's not, it's just what it is, right? I do not, however, like the pandering the Democrats and Kamala has been doing, like that whole Megan Thee Stallion rally thing. Like, we are evolved as Black people. We do not need fried chicken and twerking to convince us to vote. So that was kind of insulting, even though I do love Megan Thee Stallion now. I do love a little Megan Thee Stallion. I want, from a political standpoint, for Black people to be taken seriously. So I didn't like that. But I don't think Trump is better, by no means. Anyway, what I will wish for Kamala to address, so that we can kind of put that to bed, because it's been causing a lot of infighting, especially with Black people. I do want her, when she comes out as an official nominee, because she's still not official yet, to address some of the issues that the Democratic Party has put on our plate the past 4 years, which is funding all these different wars, involving herself in all these different wars. There has been nothing to do for student loan issues facing this country. I don't like some of the immigration practices that have gone on for the past 4 years, even as an immigrant. I don't like the idea of no lack of border control and people being dropped off in cities and things like that. So I think a lot of Black people have issues with that as well. So I would feel as if I'm hoping she addresses this. She addresses some of those issues. I think that hopefully our group will be more receptive to her. I'm quite appalled and shocked at the level of resistance, if I was supposed to like extrapolate what has been happening in the chat to like the grander population. I'm kind of shocked that there's so much pushback against her as a candidate, especially with some of the arguments about her race and her experience. But unfortunately, I said this the other day, and I'm kind of, I don't know, Dr. Alicia, maybe I need to call you. I'm tired of like, it just seems like Black people like suffering or dysfunction. And sometimes I have to like unplug from that. But that's all I have to say at this point. I just hope that the Democratic Party will address some of the important issues so people can focus on that versus Kamala's race.
I have a feeling that many of us are so up in arms that they wouldn't have the ears to hear right now. That is my major concern about that. You see just a smidgen of what we see in our comments. But my question is, even if she came out right now and answered you personally on her policy, would you have your ears to hear, or would you be ready with your next sentence and accusation against her immediately? And then you need to check yourself and ask why. Dr. Lynette, what did you think of yesterday? And would you have handled that differently? Do you think our journalists handled those questions properly?
I actually only watched one segment, which was the first question. That was only, I just don't have the stomach to watch. What did it say? Play silly games, win silly prizes. I don't need no more silly prizes, so I don't play silly games. So I only watched the first piece, and I already knew it was going to be trash. I do feel that the first question was appropriate. If you're asking for my vote and you've said these things, I want to know why. So I do feel that it was appropriate. But I also feel that Donald Trump is disrespectful across the board. White journalists, Black journalists, Mexican, doesn't matter. He is consistent in being disrespectful and disgusting. So I feel like they got what they asked for. I don't think that they needed to do that interview. I don't think that it was necessary to have him there. But when you bring a candidate of that nature, who has that rhetoric, who speaks like that and acts like that, why wouldn't you think he would bring that same energy to your organization and your event? So I'm not blaming either party. I think that each party got what they asked for. If they wanted to go virtual or viral and get some attention, they did it. They got him there. It went viral. They got the attention. You get what you get. Just in case this is my last time speaking, I'm looking at the time. This is what I will say at my final comment for the day is that as you're asking about Kamala's policy, do your research on Trump's policy. In the comments, it keeps saying, you can't give us any policy on Kamala. You can't give us any policy on Kamala. Well, we can give you some policy on Trump. If you want that, can you give me some policy on Trump? Can you go through the different things that he's going to do to harm Black people? You're so worried about what Kamala's policy is. Look at what Trump's policy is to set you back, to take away your rights, to harm your children. Like, look at that as well as him wanting to hear Kamala's policy. So I'm going to end with that. I am Dr. NAJB, monetization business coach and strategist. You can find me at I am Dr. NAJB on all social media platforms. And thank you for having me here today.
We love you. Thank you. My mama always taught me if it looked like a duck and it quack like a duck, is a duck. Ladies, we really have had a really good show. I know a lot of people were here just because of the topic, and a lot of times we get a little emotional and upset about things. This is our country. I do love the passion for our country, but I want it to be in the right direction. So let's go ahead and wind this down. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Alicia. Can you please tell us your final thoughts on our communities, as well as any thoughts that you had on Trump joining yesterday and where we can find you?
Okay, Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump took this opportunity to be interviewed by Black journalists very seriously. He didn't really respect any of those women on that stage. He halfway gave respect to one woman, but I don't really think it was really there. And I just think that disrespect that he gave to their question, that lets you know that he doesn't even care about Black people, because he didn't even recognize any of the salient questions that we all had. I mean, those journalists were very well prepared, very competent, and he got up there and he tried to make the entire organization look incompetent by pointing out different things. And I just think that he just almost, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of how you would treat somebody if a third grader gave you an interview versus you're being interviewed on CNN. Like, he treated that interview as if it was somebody very insignificant asking him questions, and he didn't even really need to give a very full, complete answer. And I just think that I think that's troubling. So with that, one thing I will say is that, look, this is what advice I have for all of you all here and everybody in the chat, the trolls in the chat, toxic people. You got to treat them as, you talk about emotion, you have to treat them like you are a gray rock. Have y'all heard of the gray rock scenario? When toxic people just write things in the chat, when people like Donald Trump, who I think is pretty toxic, when he just says these things off the cuff, do not get emotionally sucked into this, because they win. You have to become a gray rock. They throw attacks at you. They're saying things, making you look incompetent, starting an argument with you. You just turn into a gray rock where you don't respond, you don't react, because the more you respond, the more you buy into it, the bigger the trolls are going to grow, the bigger toxic people become, because they feel like they've won, because they got you. They got you. Here we are in a nice, loving disposition, and we're allowing comments. We're allowing people like Donald Trump to get us moving and get us going. And really, that's the best. And Black people do it all the time. So the best way for us to win is to ignore them and keep on our square, so to speak. Let's just put our heads down, keep doing what we've been doing. Let Donald Trump be Donald Trump. Let the trolls be who they are. Let toxic people continue, because toxic people do not have a happy life. Their life is miserable. And so really, they don't let them think, they on social media and they'll let you think that they live in their best life and all that. They're not. So just continue. Do not let these things get you caught up emotionally, because it's wasted energy. And with that, I am Dr. Alicia. If you want to get a breakaway and become a gray rock from toxic people, you can contact me at coachingwithdralicia.com.
I absolutely love that, Dr. Alicia. I always can count on you to say something that makes my heart happy. I love that. And I have not heard of the Gray Rock, but I will be incorporating that. Before I speak to my last two queens, I do want to roll a little bit of what happened at that summit. So let's go ahead and look at that. And then, Constance, I want to get your thoughts right after that.
I have been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. I think it's a very nasty question. I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me say Central Park 5. Let me just say Central Park 5. Central Park 5. Central Park 5. If you don't know, you better look it up. Constance.
I don't even know how y'all even excuse, because they've even excused it. Did you guys see the whole thing? Let me just tell you 9 traits of narcissistic personality disorder: sense of self-importance, preoccupation with power, entitled, can only be around people who are important or special. They're interpersonally exploitive for their own gain, arrogant, they lack empathy, they must be admired, and they're envious of others, and they believe that they are superior. He is a classic narcissist. We just listened to a classic narcissist. He deflected. Narcissists take no responsibility or accountability for any of their actions. They ask him straight up questions. He dish it out, but he can't take it. I mean, y'all want a narcissist as your commander in chief, and he offers no solutions. And so that's just what it is. That's all I have to say about that. I want to go back to the question is, can we do it for the Black community? I do believe that we can. We are better together than we are separate. And so I want to go back to just put an exclamation point on Dr. Lene when she said we need to look at our community and stop looking at the nation. Nobody's going to save us, Black people. You know, white people are not thinking about us. We thinking about white people. They thinking about their children, their communities, and we thinking about them. And we need to start looking internally and start thinking about ourselves. How do we do that? We got to stop looking at rugged individualism and capitalism as our savior, and we got to start being more community focused and community minded. We got to think collectively and stop working in silos and start working together. That's what we have to do. And so I'd rather be more about solutions, because politics is the great divider. That is the thing that divides us the most, is when we talk about different political parties. For people who don't give a fuck about us, we need to be looking at internally what's going to work for the betterment of our community, and that's working together. That's practicing collective economics. That's spending with one another. And that's supporting one another. And so take all that other shit out and let's start looking within our own community to find our own people. And that way we can be like the other communities who are insulated, the Jews and the Asians, it doesn't matter who's in office, they gonna still thrive. We're going to be decimated if a certain person is put in office. And that's the problem. So we got to start putting money in our own community so that we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, we can do it for our community. We just have to be more community minded.
Totally agree. Makes my heart flutter. Girl crush. I also have to say, guys, there was someone who said Kamala didn't have the nerve to show up. No, Kamala already had something scheduled before they asked her to come. So
she was at the funeral. She went to Sheila's funeral, Congresswoman Sheila's, I can't remember her last name, Jackson, her funeral.
So, yeah, well, of course, people are going to spin the narrative. And it's always interesting to me that it's always fake news when it doesn't serve what they want to do. So let's take that into account. Athena, my last goddess on the panel, I would love to hear your thoughts and anything that you would need to address. And where can we find you?
Well, I want to address something in the chat. Someone wrote a comment, the Jamaican chick on top needs to read more. She is falling for GOP talking points. So what I want to say is this. First of all, I'm registered independent. So let's that be clear. Second of all, I can critique any party. I think when you go through a political process, whether or not you're going to vote for whomever, you should be critical of both parties. And because I am also bringing things that Kamala does need to address, does not necessarily mean that I'm banning her. I'm just saying that these are some talking points that she probably needs to address. Furthermore, for anyone to even question what I'm reading, who I'm reading, whatever, when you probably need to read, when most Americans, 54% Americans reading at 6th grade level, 21% can't even read. And furthermore, what you reading, you are questioning me on my literacy level, on my reading, because I can critique both parties, which I will continue to do, right? But because I am such a great person and because I value the audience, I'm going to give a suggestion on a book you guys should read, which is Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. That's in my personal library. And we can go to chapter 7 about group economics and policy to discuss and have solutions on the topic we are discussing today and how we can actually practice group economics as a community when it comes to politics, right? Anyways, my name is Athena Gardner. I'm a CPA and wealth coach. If you want to focus on increasing your bank account and decreasing your stress, you can find me at wewealthwomen.com, at wewealthwomen on all social media platforms, and listen to my podcast, the We Wealth Women podcast, on Apple, Spotify, and iHeart.
Thank you, Athena. I love your comments. And hey, I have not read that, my queen, and I am going to do that. Listen, other people's opinions are not your reality. Okay. So a lot of the times we need to get out of our own feelings. And my final thoughts for the day is, don't let other people divide us. We need to make sure that we take care of our own communities before we worry about what other people are going to do. Because if you're waiting for that savior to ride in on that white horse, they're never going to come. You have to be the savior for yourself and your community. You can't just wait for someone else to do it for you, because you'll die waiting. Okay. That's simple as that. So any divisiveness that is going on, just shake it off. go on, brush your shoulder off and move on and give a solution and be the solution. My motto is to be the light. I try to do that every single day in my life. And I hope that my light helps brighten someone else's in the middle of the day. That's what life is about. Yes, we can disagree on politics. Yes, we can disagree on religion. Yes, we can disagree. But at the end of the day, we're all still human, and humanity is what we have to strive for, helping one another. You can find me at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. I have some great free resources there for you about home ownership, as well as getting outside of the box of America. If you're interested in seeing the world and growing and actually saving a lot of money outside of the United States, I specialize in Portugal properties as well. So I look forward to having that conversation with you. Ladies, I want to say thank you for joining me today. We had a really good conversation. If you just now joining us, baby, you missed it. You're going to have to go back and watch it because it was hot and heavy today. So go back, watch the replay, make sure you subscribe to us. And if you don't want to miss the next show, please make sure that you text the word Queens, QUEENS, to 87948. Hit us up on Spotify, same name, Fly Nubian Money. Make sure that you go to our website where we have solutions for you to get your money right and your money tight. If you don't know where to start, that's a good place to start. Never be afraid to look at your finances. It's only a starting point. You can see the goal if you have the starting point, right? And we are thankful for all of your comments, and we're thank you for all your support. We will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Queens. I love you.